everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. I have just witnessed at Craven Cottage Fulham 2, Derby 0, which sends Fulham to the final of the playoffs at Wembley Stadium, one game away from the Premier League, and it's another year in the Championship for Derby County. So the first game on Friday was 1-0 to Derby. So Derby coming into this game knowing that they didn't actually have to win, and Fulham on a real knife edge, because Fulham knew if at any point they conceded a goal, then they needed to get two. So interesting dynamic, always good when the home team has to have something to play for, although the pattern of the game on Friday was very, very much Derby defending, funneling Fulham in down the middle, and Fulham not getting through, and Derby nicking that goal by Cameron Jerome just 3 days ago. So the question was tonight, would Djokanovic have a different answer? Well, he made one change to the team that played on Friday in Derby. So Bettinelli in goal, normal back four, Fredericks, Odoi, Ream, Target. McDonald sat in front of them with Kearney and Johansson in central midfield. Ryan Sessegnon, who was very quiet the other night in Derby, on the left. And the wild card we expected, or rather I mentioned in the previous video, Abubakar Kamara. He's very unpredictable. He might lose you the game, but he might also win you a game. So in he goes for Aite, and Mitrovic up front. Derby come with the same system. So Carson in goal, that back three that played well on Friday, Forsyth, Davies and Keogh. Anya, who finished the game at left wing back, he comes in to start this one. They needed pace at left wing back to cope with Fredericks coming forward. That worked well for them on Friday. So Anya at left wing back. Right wing back was Wisdom, who looked after Sessegnon the other night. Huddleston and Johnston centre midfield. Weimann gets moved further forward. It didn't quite work for Vidra as a guy chasing over the top the other day. So he joins Lawrence, and Cameron Jerome, the goal scorer, the playoff specialist, up front. Fulham managed to get a shot in on goal after 1 minute today. It took them, I don't know, 40 minutes the other day to test Carson. Low cross on 6. Lawrence counter-attacking down the right. Weimann slides in on Bettinelli, just gets there first. Quite a bit more action early on than in the previous game. I think the feeling out period happened last week, so both teams just picking up where they left off. Fulham counter from a Derby corner. Johansson wins it. It's a 3-on-1 breakout. Kamara goes down the right hand side. He carries it. He cuts inside. He needs to get it to Sessegnon, and Sessegnon's in, but he plays it into his feet, not ahead of him. Sessegnon has to check back, checks his stride, hits the shot, and Carson makes the save. Decent save, but could have been a goal with a better ball in from Kamara. Lawrence, he's their outlet, Derby. He has been in both of these games. He crosses in, back out to Weimann, who strikes it. Derby look like they've got a bit of a threat here. It looks like they're just defensive enough to hold Fulham at bay, but have enough going forward to trouble them into thinking we shouldn't pile forward too much in this game of chess. Mitrovic give and go with Sessegnon. He pokes it towards goal. No power there. Good switch. We're into 22 minutes. Anya down the left. He stands up Fredericks. Low ball in. Jerome's arriving right at the back post. It's a good cross. He arrives with Ream, and they both arrive at the same time. And I guess they both land on the ball, and Ream blocks Jerome out. If he's a millisecond later with that, Jerome scores. At this point, I'm thinking Derby look quite good here. Fulham not doing enough to come through for the 2 goals that they need to swing the tie their direction. Johansson give and go with Mitrovic this time. Good firm shot, not far off. Derby still funneling everything down the middle, and that they were quite happy for Davis to go one-on-one with Mitrovic and just go for the strength battle and him to block him out. So still the same tactic, and Fulham unable to go round the outsides. Kearney with a 25-yarder. That deflects. Davies gets a chest on it. He reacts it. May have scraped the arm a little bit, but definitely not a deliberate handball there. No penalty. Fulham gets some whips. Finally, Frederick stands it up. Mitrovic glances the header. He doesn't get a strong forehead on it, and I think Carson had that one covered. Good Derby counter here. Weimann gets fouled by McDonald. He springs back up and continues. It falls to Johnson, who curls it wide. Good foul, if there's such a thing, that by McDonald. Really killed that counter attack, and I think if Weimann had actually stopped, McDonald might have got booked for that one, which would have changed his dynamic to his game. Session gets forward, feeds Mitrovic, shoots right-footed, drags that one wide, still unable to get behind Fulham, and Fredericks works it into Mitrovic. Great turn this time, he's into the box, shoots left-footed just wide. I think Carson was beaten with that one, so finally that ball working for Fulham, and the closest that they've been. A good play again by Anya, so Derby do have the ability to break out. Fredericks, good delivery all the way across. Wisdom arriving at the back of the box. It just goes past all the forward players, and Wisdom's backing up, and he hits it skyward. Superb throw out though by Bettinelli, sends Camera away. He goes down the left, cuts in, shoots right-footed. Carson looks a bit nervy with that one and spills it, and Davis clears everything out there. Fredericks down the right, runs at Anya this time, makes a yard from him, he tries to beat him, which is what they needed to do, and he shoots for the far post. Carson, I think he was comfortable, but a good tip. He wasn't prepared to parry into the oncoming bodies. Big chance on 44, cross hung up from the left for Mitrovic. This time he actually beats his man, gets the header and gets good power. It's at Carson, but strong left hand pushing it up and away. Little bit further that way. That's a really difficult one for Carson to save. Probably the best chance Mitrovic has had in both of the games thus far. Good work again from Anya, and Huddleston's blocked out. So half time, still going Derby's way. Derby still have the lead here, and the thing I was saying to myself is Fulham, the way they're playing and the way Derby are set up, unless either someone can actually beat a man and take him out of the game that way and break their wall at the back, or someone can engineer a long-range shot and find one of the corners. They really didn't look like scoring. I would say the plan was still working, and Derby probably had more chances in this game in the first half than they did in the entire of the other game. Bit more space. I think Fulham just instinctively playing a bit further forward on their home pitch. So nicely poised on a knife edge. The longer it goes, the more Derby know if they can just sneak away and get that goal, they're definitely through. But no sooner had we sat down at half time, Fulham get the goal and take the lead on the night. Huge goal, and for all of their lovely passing and trying to play through that way, the ball goes diagonally into the box. McDonald has made an extra man. He kind of jumps up and he tries to chest it. I think he's trying to control it. It bounces off. Sessegnon, as always, he runs in. Whenever the ball goes in the box, he just runs in from the diagonal. And he's so quick to react and quick over 5 yards. We've seen him score so many goals like that. He picks it up. Is it going to come down for him? Just falls down on the left foot. He gets over the half volley, gets control of it, and larrups it in. Barring in, and that was what it was going to take. An extra man in the box, a cross for once, a little bit of variation, and they get the goal. It wasn't the normal type Fulham goal where they were trying to pass through. That was how they were going to get in there, and then the dynamic of the game completely changes here. And interesting for both teams as well, because you kind of wonder, right now it's 1-1, what do both teams do? Because Fulham had been all in, going for the goal, and you think, do they fall back a bit? Do both teams fall back a bit? That's how you get extra time in these games often. But Derby comes straight out on 47. It's floated to the back post. Anya is coming in. He doesn't know whether to chest it or head it, and he kind of stoops down to head it. He's caught between neither nor there, and it goes wide. McDonald on the edge of the box. His shot charged down and just skews over the bar. Derby coming forward again though. Johnson, great third man run. He's into the box. It's a kind of battle of strength, and he's spending more time out muscling his man, and by the time he's kind of shouldered him off, he's off balance for the shot. He hits it into the ground. Bettinelli makes the save. Good play by Johnson, who's normally a box-to-box player, but in these games was obviously instructed just to stay in front of the back four. But that's the price you pay for a defensive setup, perhaps. Nice football from Fulham. Down the right, it's fed into Mitrovic. He backs in, turns, shoots again. Not his day. Wide left-footed there. Johansson with a professional foul on Jerome as he was breaking away into the Fulham half. Takes a yellow for that. Mitrovic yet again received it in the number 9 spot. The most common Fulham attack this during the tie. Turns and lifts it over. On 65 minutes, the key moment, it's the second goal. So Camara is fed in down the right. He gets blocked out and it goes for a corner. Across comes Sessegnon to take the corner. And this just goes in slow motion. Sessegnon puts it into the near post. Adoy, I don't know if he's even past the near post. It seems that he jumps up, he angles it, and everything stops, and the ball sails and sails, and you think, where's that going? And it just nestles in the far corner. And I said it again. I was thinking at half-time, how are Fulham going to do this? And the way they scored these 2 goals were just balls into the box and winning aerials. So Derby completely set up to stop attacks round the back, funnel them in the middle. We didn't think they'd won a cross, but when they did, they get 2 goals, and now the dynamic of the game completely changes, and that's exactly what Fulham wanted now. Derby have to score. They can't just sit there and defend. Fulham can just keep the ball and kill them for the last, 25 minutes. So Rowett looks like he had this planned in advance, that if they were going to go down, this is what he was going to do. So Vidra comes straight in for Anya. Palmer comes in for Lawrence literally as soon as the second goal went in. So that didn't look off the cuff. That looked like a premeditated plan if they had fallen behind. Derby go to a 4-2-3-1 now. And finally, from Fulham's point of view, maybe some space. Great play by Wisdom. Keeps hold when he could just lob it in the box. Feeds Palmer, gets into the byline, cuts back a firm cross, and it's Weimann it goes to. It's a pretty good chance, actually. He can't get the header on target. Probably not Weimann's game. He's more a running player. Really big moment on 74. Derby have a corner. Mitrovic with a huge defensive header. Out goes Camara. It's him against 2, and he gets there first. He lobs it behind. Foot race with Carson. Obviously, Carson has been a great pro for many years, but he's not as quick as Camara. Camara gets there first. He's in behind. He knocks it over him. He's done brilliantly. And down he goes, and I'm sat up the other end. I'm like, well, red card. Why on earth would he dive there? But the ref very quickly waves his arm the other way. Carson looks furious, and it's a yellow card for diving for Camara. Why? Why would you dive? You're in on goal. Make it 3-0. Finish everything off. There you go. Nugent comes in for Cameron Jerome up front. Callas comes in for Target. I suspected this might happen. So 3-5-2 to see the game out. 2 up front, and those 3 centre midfielders can play in any formation, I'm sure. Huddleston takes a yellow on Mitrovic, and then McDonald and Palmer, I don't know what was going on there. They both get a yellow for stopping a restart over by the dugout. The dynamics change from Derby taking ages over all their restarts to Fulham taking ages over all their restarts now. So probably 6 of one and half a dozen of the other there. Fulham are now playing counter-attack as well. Camara has a effort from wide right, and Johansson with long ranges. As we're coming into the last 10 minutes, Derby breakaway. Nugent, he manages to just get on the ball for once. He's up there on his own. Johnson backs him up. He gets it back to Nugent, and he kind of skews the shot right-footed. Wide, can't work Bettinelli there. Norwood comes in for Kearney on 89. Both from Jukanovic, because if Derby did score, you don't have to play 30 minutes without your best player. But confident, although he probably had squeaky bum time when 6 minutes goes up at the end of the game, stoppage time. Wisdom and Palmer go down the right. Derby have put Curtis Davis up front now, throwing everything forward. Vidra comes in, he receives it in the box. He wants to get a shot off by any means necessary, and he probably should have just stood it up into the box, wide into the side netting. Bettinelli takes about 90 seconds to take a goal kick, and he gets a yellow card. Nugent on 90+4 manages to work it to Wisdom. He floats it into the crowded box. Keogh's well marked and heads it over, and Derby are beaten. That is their last chance. Fulham see it out. They win 2-0. So one for the purists who will say that over this tie, Derby set up to stop Fulham for most of it and football won out. Although if you're a Derby fan, the plan was to stop Fulham playing their game. Well, you kind of did. Fulham mixing it up, scoring from 2 balls into the box, crosses rare from them. But that's what they needed to do. They needed to offer something different. I think if it had gone the same way that the first 3 quarters of this, Derby were quite happy. Over the tie, Davis, Keogh, Forsyth, Johnson and Huddleston all sat there, and really good concentration for them for the most of it. They battled and battled and battled. But I guess there's a reason why Fulham finished 3rd and Derby finished 6th, you know, a fair way ahead. And if you look at it going into this playoff, Fulham were 22 unbeaten, and just that defeat to Birmingham on the last day, and Derby had been falling down from 2nd place over Christmas and just managed to get into the playoffs. So I guess with hindsight you would have expected this outcome, but after the first tie I think Rowett did well and it was all to play for tonight. But Jokanovic, he did stick to his guns. They didn't really change formation until they were winning, so he won the game with his normal 4-3-3 philosophy. Pass, 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 pass. They tried to score that goal without beating a man, just passing, 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 make the space. Obviously, it's probably a lesson to whoever meets Fulham in the final that if you stick wing-backs and 3 centre-backs, you do stop that big outlet of Target and Sessegnon and Fredericks and all those wide players getting in behind. So that'd be something that Bruce or Pulis will be looking at. So in terms of players, obviously those senior pros that I mentioned for Derby all had good games, but in the main, especially people like Huddleston and Johnson had to compromise their talents. Johnson is box to box, Huddleston's a good player, and they were mainly deployed as defensive guys. So Derby fans, where does this leave you? I know the chairman Morris has pulled out a bit of the money. They're not spending as freely as they once did. They've had to sell players. So do you see a decline from this next season? Obviously there's also players in that squad who are not young guys. I know experience is important in the Championship, but how do you see it panning out next season? And do you think they gave it a good go against a good Fulham team and probably well beaten? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. From a Fulham point of view, it's a frustrating 2 games for them, and they're probably going to have similar issues in the final. I think whoever gets there is going to set up to stop them, so it might have been good practice for them to have this game. Really tonight, the standout guy was probably Ream, the centre-half, who seemed to provide a really good base for his team. I think it was frustrating for all of the flair players in the Fulham midfield. It's just this massive 3 centre-halves, 2 wing-backs, 2 blocking midfielders. It's just very, very hard to get through. So I think Ream providing that base was good for them. And we thought Sessegnon, all the chit-chat, and he had a quiet first game. Well, in this game, tight game, big game, goal, assist, boom. That's what big players do. So Fulham fans, let me know what you think of today in the comments. Who do you want in the final at Wembley on the 26th? And are you good enough to get promoted over one of these wily managers, either Bruce or Pulis? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Give me a thumbs up and a comment. Other opinions are available, so please do make them. And I will see you very soon. Good night.